got 355,000 people on SNAP benefits receiving double benefits, that we've got 186,000 dead people getting SNAP benefits, 186,000 dead Americans getting food stamps right now. Now, I know the fake news media is going to say that the big headline from this speech is J.D. Vance proposes that we take away food stamps. That's what they're going to say.
This wasn't just government waste. This is people that were getting rich off of the taxpayers.
Whatever your views on a specific policy, there is maybe no more important issue than how about when you pay your taxes to the federal government. We just had tax day just a couple of weeks ago. How about you have a government that actually takes those resources as what they are? Your sweat, your tears, your time away from your family, and protects every single one of those dollars. And that's what we're doing by going after fraud, finally, in the federal government. And let me just give you a couple of examples. We had let fraud become so rampant in this country that people were able to get rich not by creating something amazing, not by employing something, not by building something beautiful with their hands. They were able to get rich by defrauding every single person in this room. And they were taking money that should go to America's low-income families, to America's elderly, to people who are struggling in our communities. They were stealing it out of their pocket and stealing it out of your pocket so they could get rich. Let me give you just a couple of examples. There was a program in suburban Minneapolis. It's actually a national program, but it was taken advantage of in suburban Minneapolis, where what we do is that we make it possible, the American people in their generosity make it possible for the parents of young children who are autistic to get access to after-school services. And I think that's a cool thing because Americans, we take care of one another. But you know what happened? That money wasn't going to the parents of autistic children. That money was going to Somalian fraudsters because somebody figured out in the illegal immigrant community that if they went around and said that all of the children in a particular household had that particular problem, then they could collect a lot of money from the federal government.
The United States of America is incredibly kind and generous. Let's just start by saying this here. Like, incredibly kind and generous to the point where we go out and say, hey, listen, there's some people over there. They're having a really bad time. Let's go ahead and see if we can kind of pull them back into the fray here. The same people who do this seem to also not realize that they're coming from like desperate, war-torn type of areas, and they're being forced, let's say, to learn brand new tips and tricks here. And understand this here. This is not the only program that has issues.
You paid your taxes, those people got rich, and the families who needed those services never got to access those services. They were stolen from, and you were stolen from, and your government didn't do a single thing about it until Donald J. Trump and Congressman Nunn came along. What we did is very simple. We went to the state of Minnesota and said, we want you to audit the people who are getting access to these funds. And if you're not willing to confirm that the people who are getting these benefits actually deserve these benefits, then you're not getting another dime of federal money. We cut them off, and that's exactly what we got to do. And ladies and gentlemen, people have asked me, I'm the leader of the fraud task force in Washington. And people have asked me, is that a hard job? And I say, well, let me think. Finding fraud in the federal government, it's kind of like fishing in a barrel with dynamite. Every week, I get a report from the task force. We have our weekly meeting, and I am shocked every single day by the things that we find. Just one of the all-stars on our fraud task force is our great Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins. And Brooke has found out that we've got 355,000 people on SNAP benefits receiving double benefits, that we've got 186,000 dead people getting SNAP benefits, 186,000 dead Americans getting food stamps right now. Now, I know the fake news media is going to say that the big headline from this speech is JD Vance proposes that we take away food stamps. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, most likely.
I actually think that we should take food stamps away from dead people. I'm guilty of that. I think that's a reasonable thing. I also was talking to Brooke backstage, and she said, you know that there are people who have this is not a joke. There are people who have Lamborghinis who currently receive SNAP benefits. I said, that's interesting. You know, I'm a pretty conservative guy, but I would think that like 95% of the United States of America would agree that if you are wealthy enough to afford a Lamborghini, then you are wealthy enough to not receive SNAP benefits from the American people. Is that common sense?
I mean, I agree with that 100%, but then things would have to change pretty drastically, right? Yeah, there are absolutely terrible, like bad actors out there who are definitely structuring themselves financially to the point where on paper they're making less than, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000, but in all actuality, there are millions of dollars going through their home.
And I could go down and down the list. We just served 22 investigatory procedures. The Department of Justice, we went from discovering what happened in Minneapolis to serving 22, subpoenas so that we could go after the fraud that's happening in Minneapolis. And we did that in just 3 months. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, when we find crime, those people are going to go to prison for defrauding you, because that's exactly how it should be.
Absolutely.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about, my friends, is we know that under the Biden administration, Iowa farmers and farmers all over the United States of America were hit, and they were hit hard. What we've done using the president's trade authorities and using his incredible trade policies is that we have doubled the export market for Iowa farmers in just 18 months. And that is an amazing thing, because what happened for years is that people would dump their agricultural products into the United States of America, but said, you're not allowed to sell great Iowa product overseas. Well, we flipped that on its head. We told all those countries, you're done dumping that crap into the United States of America, and if you don't want to pay a higher tariff rate, you better let Iowa farmers sell into your country, and every single one of them have let Iowa farmers sell into their country. Again, it's amazing what happens when you got a president and a congressman who's fighting for you instead of fighting against you, and that is the record that we've had over the past 18 months.
Oh yeah, guys. So we have needed someone to come in and absolutely not be weak. And definitely Trump's team currently is absolutely not that group of people that are going to allow foreign nations to basically take advantage of us in any meaningful manner, large scale. Just be aware of that there, okay? Let's get back to one topic here, right? Because one thing stood out to me pretty drastically in this video, and that definitely was the people who are on food stamps, government assistance, while driving a Lamborghini. Okay, so in America, that is super common, but I'm also not sure that they're going to make a solid push to remove that type of thing, because it would affect Washington too drastically. Okay. And what I mean by that is that how they're doing that basically is that they are most likely running some type of S Corp or C Corp or an LLC that's making a good enough amount of money to basically be able to kind of float whatever the monthly payment of that Lamborghini is. They're calling it some type of company car. Maybe they need it for content or something, right? But the problem with that is their W-2, right? Like the common worker tax return type of thing, right? Their W-2 is dictating that they make, I don't know, $20,000, because they're only paying themselves through their payroll company a very low sum of money on a yearly basis, but yet they still have access to all of the company funds. They're misusing, for the most part, company funds. And the reason why I say they're not going to fix this is because a gigantic amount of people who are making real money out there do not want you to know they're making real money. For super uber rich people who are making crazy amounts of money, a lot of their goals generally come down to making $12 a year, $1 a month, because they've learned in life, the more you have in your name, the more that you actually say you want to own personally, right? The more open you are to being assessed as a wealthy person than getting taxed as a wealthy person. So like there are too many things in place that too many people, most of the donors, for example, like that too many of the donors of Washington are benefiting from. So I can't really see that being something that's going to change here, but I do understand the reason for it being a talking point, because it shows you that there are people blatantly taking advantage of the federal government and our tax dollars. It's reality here. But again, are they actually going to change it more than just having a conversation about it? No, they can't. Until you get money out of politics, that's really not much of a conversation, truthfully. Right? But listen, guys, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. And in the meantime, guys, I'll go ahead and catch you guys later.